One. Hello, fans in the grandstands. You are listening to The Pen. This is episode 4 of The Pen with your mom's favorite little leaguer, Hunter Malone, and your host, Jacob Pearl. DJ is out jumping his sister's car right now, so hopefully he can hop on later. And we're going to have reoccurring guests now, and steal that line a little bit from part of my take. But reoccurring guest, Drew McDonald's going to come on the show later for you guys, and he's bringing a buddy of his who's a wide receiver at FAU. Get to talk to him a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and get into the show a little bit. So when those guys hop on, we will transition over there. To open the show, this is supposed to be Masters Week, and they have actually rescheduled the Masters to November, which is going to be great.
I don't know. The Masters
in November.
I was in Georgia. So, what if it's snowy? If it's snowing, and so you hit your golf ball into the rough, you're not finding it.
No. I play with, like, the highlighter balls.
Yeah.
Those in the reds.
Mini golf.
Yeah. The mini golf ones. That would be just so fun if the actual putters they use was just, like, mini golf putters. That would be kind of funny.
That'd be funny.
Reschedule it to the middle. Yeah.
Use the fairway so it like is.
I saw a video today and it was a dude using trick golf balls, and one of the golf balls was unputtable. So the guy went to putt and the ball would literally jump and then turn right and miss the hole completely on purpose. And the dude was like, his buddies were like, dude, what the heck was that? He's like, dude, I didn't do that. He was like trying to putt and the ball wouldn't go. He's like, dude, it's not me. And they're like, dude, you suck.
Yeah.
That was so funny. But yeah, it's the middle of November. They've rescheduled 2 other major championships, such as the PGA Championship, which will be in San Francisco, I believe. And that one is scheduled in August. And then the U.S. Open will be played in New York in September, which I don't know how good of an idea that is to still have that major there.
Yeah.
But we'll see as lines are continuing. They canceled the British Open, or the Open as it's just really called, for this year, but they're going to use the same course, Royal St. Andrews. St. Andrews. And they're going to put it to next year's 2021 venue. So it'll be nice to finally get sports, but it sucks that we have no Masters this week. Really was looking forward to seeing Tiger trying to defend his green jacket. I honestly would have picked Brooks Koepka just because that dude just wins.
Monster. Brooks Koepka is an absolute monster.
Like, he's, like, yoked. Like, you can see it through, like, the goal. Yeah. It's crazy because I saw him at the Players, and he walked, like, in front of me, and I was just like.
There was just a large shadow that emerged.
Yeah. Him, and then Gardner Minshew is, like, also – I told you, like, he's way bigger than I thought he was because that man literally walked in front of me, and I was like, just older, just so wide, and you're just, like, amazed. But, yeah. But other than that –
I was about to ask, did you follow any of the NBA 2K tournament or watch any of the show tournament?
I had a show tournament? Oh,
yeah.
Between the 4 players.
Yeah, Blake Snell, Amir Garrett, Hunter Pence, and
– it was entertaining.
I think.
Did you see the Trevor Bauer Sandlot game?
Yeah, that was funny.
That was fun to watch. The 2K thing is kind of like –
how they did the seeding was based off your 2K like player overall, not by like how good you were, and so a lot of upsets because like you got guys like Kevin Durant who are obviously good, who spend all their time in the gym, and then time to play 2K.
Dude, Trae Young's gonna win it. He's the youngest dude in the field.
He's a monster. He was.
What do you think
he was like one of the only people to drop 100 points.
Yeah, like. So for y'all listening and not, like, seeing this on YouTube or whatever, he texted me And he goes, dude, I would smoke Kevin Durant and Derrick Jones Jr. in 2K.
Yeah, they were playing, and they were god-awful. Like, I would dominate both of them. The only person I think I would have struggle with is probably Trae Young.
Or Devin Booker. D-Book.
D-Book, I would literally get D-Book in just a transition game, and he wouldn't be able to keep up.
What team would you use? Would you use the Celtics?
Well, the way they did it was like
They all chose the Bucks.
Yeah, so like a lot of things that happen is so you pick your 8 teams, and it's like you can't pick the same team as the other person, and once you use your team, like that one team, you're done. So a lot of trying to save the Bucks, but also like, what if you don't move on? Then like that was a waste. So a lot of people use the Bucks and the Lakers early. The best joke of the night was when Devin Booker and Michael Porter Jr. they were trying to figure out teams, and Michael Porter Jr. just goes, "Why don't you just be the Suns and I'll be the Nuggets? We'll play like a normal game." And Tebow goes, no."
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
That's not gonna happen.
I think they're just trying to push content out, and I think the 2K tournament was kind of a flop because you're just watching dudes play 2K, and I think you wanted the commentary to be better.
But they can't hear each other. They don't like.
They're just talking to.
But like some other people are just like, nah, because then it won't be PG anymore.
It's just weird. They might do. They keep saying these reports of a one-on-one tournament or horse.
Yeah, horse with it was like I thought I saw it was CP3.
James Harden, CP3.
I want Steph Curry in that.
I don't know. It just looked fun. I definitely would watch that. So the way they would have it is apparently they would they all have like home courts.
Yeah.
Basically just play in their home court and just try to match each other's shots. And I was like, I can get behind that. But baseball is actually pushing to maybe have a May start, which we will have more content. Thank God for the baseball show. We're kind of bouncing all over the place with the sports, but there's no actual sports happening, so that's sad.
Well, I'll say nothing really happened in the 2K tournament other than like there's no matchups that I like want to see. I got Derrick Jones Jr. against Montreal's Harrell, the rookie from the Washington, the the guy drafted. He was a Japanese player.
Roy Hamator.
Yeah, I don't know how to say his last name. You got Trae Young.
Hachimura.
Yeah. Trae Young against Ayton. It's a 2 against a 10 seed. And then you got Drummond against Pat Beverly.
Crazy.
I don't want to watch that. As soon as Kevin Durant got booted, I was like, all right, he really wasn't that good. And Trae Young literally just caught Harrison Barnes in a transition, just murdered him. Stole the ball, layup. It was just a murder.
So yeah, I think it was kind of a bust in terms of what ESPN was just trying to do. But yeah, baseball is actually looking to play baseball and just keep it in a bubble down in Arizona. And the NHL is entertaining the idea of playing in either North Dakota or New Hampshire, which for hockey isn't that bad because the University of North Dakota hockey team probably has outrageous facilities.
Oh, yeah. I don't think it's the facilities that's the problem. I think it's simply the outbreak. Would they have fans there? So
it would be
there.
So it would be no fans, which I think if they're just going to jump into the playoffs, I don't think you can do it without fans.
No, I think you need – because that literally gets rid of the whole home crowd advantage. If you're the number 1 seed, the only reason why you really go for that is for the home field advantage.
Well, even then in hockey, all the number 1 seeds last year lost. Washington lost in a double overtime game with the Carolina Hurricanes, which met Boston Bruins in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, because the Lightning got swept by Columbus.
Lightning got swept by Columbus. and they were the present. They had, I think, the second most wins, like, all time, like, point-wise.
I thought they were number one.
They were behind the 90-something Red Wings, and the Red Wings were, like, outrageous. They had, like, 130-plus points. That was when the Red Wings were just dominant in the 90s and early 2000s, not the trash show they are now.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't see any of that now.
No, that's so disappointing because when Detroit hockey is good, it's just really entertaining to watch. But then it was like, I think it was Nashville got upset by Dallas in 6 games. And then who was it? It was Calgary got upsetted by Colorado in 6 games. No, in 5 games. So, like, it's all over the place. Like, the Blues were – shout out Blues – were dead last in January, and then they won the Cup. Like, anything can really happen in hockey. Speaking of hockey, today was supposed to be the start of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and I'm sad. I was so looking forward to these playoffs. You know, I think, like, Boston had a very good chance. Tampa was getting hot. Toronto always can make noise. And then, like, obviously being a Blues fan, I want to see us win the Cup again.
I was going to say, I'm in Tampa right now, so, like, we'll definitely be at a couple of the games, the watch parties. Like, it gets crazy over here. So, like,
well, we would still be at school. We would still be at school, though, if we didn't have this freaking Corona crap going on.
But I would still come back down for a playoff game.
Oh.
Especially if it was Lightning Bruins, like, absolutely.
Oh, dude, last year, I was already texting my buddy Daniel. Shout out to Daniel Mirza. Hope you're watching. I was texting my buddy, yo, dude, let's go to a Lightning game, like game 5, because that was a weekend game. And I was like, I was going to take a train down or whatever it was to just go see them. Or it was during, I forget what it was. But it was a weekend game, and I was like, yeah, I'll come down. I was talking to my buddy Ethan about it. Shout out to him, too. And we were going to go down because he's a big Lightning fan and, like, go to the game, and then they got swept.
Yeah, that was upsetting.
And I was like, oh, are you kidding me? And the worst part about it is that the game 1, for you guys that don't really watch hockey or don't remember this story, they were up 3-0 at the end of 2 periods.
Yeah.
And Drew's about to hop on right now. But 3-0 after 2 periods, and then Columbus just scores 4 straight goals, and Tampa was like, screw it. So what's up, Drew?
Much, man.
How you doing?
We good. Just got back from a fresh cut from my boy. So,
Oh, yeah, we can see it.
Yeah.
Our boys are getting fresh cuts out here, and I'm just growing this out. Like,
Bro, you don't know about the backdoor barbershop?
dude, I don't have one in Arkansas. So Dante's about to hop in now, and we will continue. Me and Hunter and Drew, possibly. We're going to talk about NBA and NHL awards later.
What's up, Dante?
Go from there. How you doing, man? Thank you for coming on.
I don't think you can hear us.
Am I muted right now? Are you muted?
I can't hear him.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Well, anyway, we were talking about
He's got to read.
NHL, and we're going to move on to awards on who you thought was going to win.
Yeah. So we will have that once Dante, hopefully, we can have his interview and hopefully figures out Zoom.
Yeah.
But just a little background. So Dante will obviously give us his background when he hops on, but he is Drew's buddy. Got him on the show, and he is a wide receiver, correct, at FAU. Well, was a wide receiver at FAU. He was a senior this year.
Yes, that was his 5th year, I think.
So we're going to talk to him a little bit about what is it just simply like being a collegiate athlete, because some of us really don't know. You know, I may have known what the process of being recruited is like, and he does as well, but what is the everyday life of a student athlete? Because we can hear it from UNF, but like football is a different animal.
Also, FAU had a lot of characters. They had Tim Bonner, John Franklin, DeAndre from Last Chance U. They're all part of FAU as well, so he's been around those guys.
John Franklin was the Last Chance U guy, right?
Yeah, also Tim Bonner came to EMCC as well.
Yo,
There we go.
what's up, fellas?
Thank you for coming on, my man.
Of course, bro.
So, Drew just gave us a little bit of your background, a little bit. You were a wide receiver at FAU, and
Yes, sir.
you know, me and Hunter and Drew, but me and Hunter are big college football guys. You know, just give us a little bit about what was it like being a player with Lane Kiffin as your head coach. 'Cause at the end of the year, he did go to Ole Miss, right?
Right. Yeah, man. Kiffin was the man. He knows his football for sure. He's got a big personality. When he first came in, everyone was a little intimidated because we're like, oh, big time guy coming from Alabama, Tennessee, you know, all his past. But he came in and he was ready to work right away. But you learn a lot from that guy for real.
That's interesting to hear. I know Lane Kiffin's got the big personality, and you know, he goes one way or the other. But it's interesting to hear from the inside perspective.
Definitely.
So you were a wide receiver, right?
Right.
So just give us a little bit of your story and how, you know, you got to FAU and how you played for the team and different things like that.
So I went to high school with Drew, and after high school, I had a bunch of like AA offers, D2 offers, no big like FBS offers like I wanted. So I went to some small school up in Massachusetts, right outside of Boston. It was a great experience, you know, and I'm glad I tried it out up there. But it was, first of all, it was way too cold. Second of all, I just felt like I had more in me than like a small Division II school, you know. So I got my release, called Coach Partridge, who was recruiting me out of high school at FAU, and you know he promised me a spot in the season when we started the following year. Got here, man, and I think it's the best decision I've ever made, honestly.
Were you a walk-on or were you put on scholarship immediately?
So I came in as a walk-on. I had a preferred walk-on to FAU to begin with, but I kind of just wanted to like experience something outside of Florida, even though like FBS and like Division II, that's not even a comparison. But I went up there and I came back here as a walk-on, and I just had to grind, man. Like, you know how it is. Like, you got to just shut up and grind. You got to deal with all the stuff. But the team was real good at like treating me like anybody else. And then I eventually got put on scholarship, thankfully, by Coach Kiffin.
So just give us like a quick rundown, Hunter. If you have any questions, feel free to hop in and ask them. But what is an everyday life for you? Like, what's the routine, you know?
During football, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So wake up probably like 5:30. We gotta be. That's every day. Gotta be at the facility by like 6. Usually we'll have lift in the morning right before, and then we have meetings. Meetings are the worst part about college football. Like there's so many of them, and then they just.
How long are they usually?
Anywhere from 2 hours to 1 hour to 2 to 3 hours, and like you're going from. So all right, I'll just give you the rundown. So get there at like 6:30. We'll maybe lift till like 7:30. Then we have special teams meeting right after that for like 20 minutes. Then we go into our position meetings, and then we break off. That's for like an hour and a half. Then we break off into like offensive, defensive meetings. So then that'll be like another 30, 40 minutes just doing that. Then we'll have a team meeting, and then we'll go get ready for practice. And we still haven't even done the part yet. Then we get out to practice. That's a 2.5 hour ordeal in the heat, but it's fun, man. I mean, definitely miss it. But the thing I'll never miss is the camp life. Like that is just, you know what camp is, like the training camp, the first month before the season starts. That schedule is insane.
I remember I helped out with my high school football team, and I like signed up to be like a team manager, and the dude was like start in July, and I was like, excuse me? He was like, yeah, and I was like, oh man, I thought this was game day, but
I know, and there's no school during that time, so they can keep us till however long.
yeah,
It's just you're waking up at 6. Everyone has to stay in the dorms. Even if you have a house off campus, you have to stay in the little ass dorms. So you stay in the dorms. You leave your room at 6. You will not be back in that room until 9:30 p.m., 10 o'clock p.m. Meetings, like practice, walkthroughs, another practice. They used to have 2 practices until Florida passed the law, thankfully. But
let's say 2-a-days.
them old, good old 2-a-days, man. It's not for everybody.
Me and Hunter were swimmers, and
Oh, nice. So you know a little bit about it.
well, summer is when it kicks in because I was a club swimmer. Hunter dabbled in it.
Club, but I wasn't serious about it. I was more baseball, and I got knee surgery. I had 2 surgeries, so that was the end of me. So swimming was really mostly for rehab, and then it turned into just.
You kind of like you go to Oklahoma?
No, I go to UNF. My family's from.
Okay, nice.
But
So yeah, we're all three. Me, Hunter, and Drew.
UNF.
Who goes to UNF. Both of us go to UNF. There's
Nice.
usually another dude on here, but he's currently jumping his sister's car.
Wow.
But hopefully he'll hop on.
Yeah, if not, whatever. I'll come on whenever if you guys are just. I mean, we all got free time, you know.
But like swimming, like 2-a-days. Get up. I think it was like our coach wanted us there at 7. We would run around this little like pond.
Right.
Make us do it for an hour until either it was like 15 plus laps, and we calculated it ended up being like 2.5, like 3 miles or something.
Hell no.
Then go get ready to swim. Then your legs are gassed. Swimming is part all legs. You hop in the water. 2 hours of just constantly dying.
Right.
Most of the people on my club team, we worked at that YMCA, so we like change, get ready for work in between, then literally get off work, change back into it again for another hour and a half practice of either recovery or recovery was like a blessing. My swim coach was ex-Marine, and he was just like, you're going to die again.
And that's just club.
It's another hour and a half just grind session because we're swimming Olympic-sized 50 meters rather than 25 yards.
Right.
And it was just probably not as bad as like football compared to all the running and all that, but man, it was 2-a-days was not my favorite thing ever.
No, not at all.
Nobody ever loves those.
No way.
Hunter, you got any questions? Well, he froze. Oh no, did you guys all freeze?
So
He was a dope kid. Is he from your hometown?
yeah, we went to school together.
Oh, nice. Are you guys both all of you guys from Florida?
Yep.
Yeah, I think. I was gonna say, yeah, I grew up with Ian, and so when he went to FAU, we were rooting on him hard.
Yeah, dude, he was a good guy, and he was a baller. He just kind of fell in love with the Army stuff more, which I don't blame him. I mean,
Yeah.
wherever your heart's at, you know.
Yeah. That being said, y'all played a lot of like, I would say smaller schools, but also like kind of branched out of big schools. What was your favorite game to play?
I mean, it's easily between y'all in the back there, Boomer Sooner, or Ohio State. That Ohio State game was probably I'll probably have to say the Ohio State game, just because like playing in the horseshoe, like it was crazy, like going against Chase Young. Also because that was my first start as like a receiver. And that was my first time back from my injury, so like that was like a very big game for me. But I mean Oklahoma too. I mean against Kyler Murray, Rodney Anderson.
Yeah, man.
CeeDee Lamb, all of them. They were some dogs. Yep. Kenneth Murray, that linebacker, they were some dogs.
Yeah.
Those are.
I mean, but I didn't mean to cut you off, but that atmosphere, like obviously like Oklahoma, the Power 5 atmosphere, man. Well, especially Oklahoma and Ohio State, like nothing matches that. Like nothing.
So just kind of bouncing off, obviously you said what your favorite games were. Just what is it like playing in a bowl game compared to regular season? And I remember,
yeah,
did y'all compete for a conference championship?
Yeah, my sophomore year we won the conference, and then this last year we won the conference. So it's always the goal to win the conference. We don't really care about the bowl game unless obviously we got paired with someone better. But first of all, both the bowl games we went to, we were at the Boca Bowl, which is a home game for us.
I was about to say y'all get played dirty.
Yeah, man. So the first year, I mean, I maybe understand because like it was our first time in a bowl game, and I can't remember how long, and we played Akron, and that was a joke. It was like 50-3. But then the second, like when we just won it, like we're like, all right, we got to go to a better bowl. Even out of the state, we don't care if it's a better bowl. We don't need a New Year's Six bowl. But we ended up playing again. But at least we got to play SMU. But SMU was good. They had some good dudes, and honestly, none of us. I'm dead ass serious right now. Like none of us expected to win because we had 8 starters out, like just completely out. We had no coaches. We only had the coordinators and like 2-3 like position coaches on each side. But we came out and but like to answer your question straight up, like bowl games are never as serious. No one, obviously you want to win, but it's more like having fun with your team and bonding. So that's kind of why we did so well in both of them. I feel like we just had a chip on our shoulder for like we had to stay in Boca, you know.
Yeah.
Like for the other one, we had to practice at my high school. Like my life comes full circle now. Like, come on, you know what I'm saying? So it was a good experience though.
Not how you expect your college career to tire out.
And I ended it where I all started, so I'm happy with that, man.
All you can ask for.
Yep.
SMU was. I remember this SMU. It was the Jacksonville. So Jacksonville hosts the Georgia-Florida game, and college game day. I worked it when they came my freshman year, so I actually worked on set, got a picture with the guys and all that.
Oh, nice.
And so we were looking at the schedule. Me, Hunter, my roommates Tyler and Brett were like, "Yo, there's no other games they can go to." Like,
right?
Because and then they picked SMU Memphis at Memphis, and went, "What is going on?"
He does have 4 Gator games, and they were like, "Oh, we can't have college games."
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, UF has the best game every week. You go to UF every week, like. It's not their fault. They're playing top tier talent every year.
Exactly.
Like they went to like UF or UF.
Week 0 was Florida, Miami,
and then they went to LSU, Florida at LSU,
which ended up being an amazing game.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember that one.
And then Florida.
I remember when they picked SMU in Memphis. Everyone was
like, "What is going on with this?"
I want to make it to one of those. Those look so fun.
College game day was fun.
Yeah.
So I worked it, so I had a different perspective, but perspective of just like setting up there was a 2-day process. So they actually are there like early in the morning, like Friday or Thursday. They're set up main stage and all that. Then Friday afternoon, we got there, set things up, preliminary, and then Saturday, we're there at 6, depending on what time. We're there at 6, so. And then show starts at 9. And then we help backstage, not on stage, but around the stage, everything like that. But there were so many people just down the road, and, like, we handed stuff out to the fans, and then, like, they all left, and we looked at finally looked down, and it was just trash.
Oh, my gosh. I can only imagine.
Beer cans and everything everywhere. Where people were actually ripping off these like banners off the little, ripping them off, and we're just like, it was a really cool experience that I won't forget.
Oh, definitely not.
So I don't have really any more questions really about the college life. We've heard the stories and everything like that. So we're gonna go ahead and continue our radio show. You're more than welcome to stay on. We're talking about NBA awards. You can stay on for that, and then also a little bit. Sure.
I have a question for you, Dante. I know you played with a couple of guys with Last Chance U, like Tim Bonner, John Franklin, and
DeAndre Johnson.
yes. How did they develop, do you think, like from the MCC to FAU?
Yeah, so I was a huge fan. I'm pretty sure we all were of John Franklin because that was kind of like the first season, and he was the first season, right?
Yeah, East
Yeah, okay.
Mississippi.
For some reason, I second guessed it, but yeah, he was honestly like Tim. We only really got to see Tim develop a lot because Tim came like right after the show. DeAndre did too, but DeAndre actually killed his combine today. Not combine. He had like a pro day. Somehow he had a pro day, but he killed it today. I saw. But John Franklin and honestly, all three of them were just like such high energy guys. I talk to John like often, and I mean he's on the Bucks right now, so I'm rooting for him, man. With good old Tom Brady on the Bucks, but they were so fun and. They had talent for sure. They just got, shitty situations where they had to, fight through some adversity and bounce back. But you gotta root for those kind of guys, man. They just put their head down and try to get back to where they were,
You mentioned the NFL. Your Eagles, man, how are they gonna do this year?
Oh man, depending on how he does in the draft, man, we need to get a receiver. I'm hoping we can get like. We won't get him, but like Henry Ruggs or something would be phenomenal. But we need some help outside for sure.
So the Falcons today released their uniforms. Are they good or no?
I talked to a lot of people about this today. No, they look like XFL teams, honestly. But obviously they do. Like the ATL right here. Like, come on, what do you like? You know what I'm saying? Like, but apparently the guy said they look better in person. But
I hope.
I don't know.
Like the Bucks.
Yeah.
Hyping up the uniforms of being like new, and then they're just like, here's the old uniforms back. New color rush.
Exactly. No, the old school one that like Calvin Ridley was wearing on the right, like that one looks sick, but that's because it doesn't have the ATL on the front.
The Dirty Birds.
We'll see, man.
Also, your roommate Dante is one of the best tight ends right now in the combine.
Yeah.
Talk about what he has to offer for teams for the draft.
Yeah, so I mean Harry, man. I mean he won the Mackey, which is huge. First non-Power 5 tight end to ever win it. To be honest with you, man, he's a dog. Like I keep it real. Like I'll tell you how a player is, and he's gonna go a long way. He can offer it. Like he just has that pro mindset. Like he's not about the partying or like the big fame. He just loves football. He's a great possession receiver. He's gone a little faster over the years. A lot of the scouts are grading him lower than what they initially did, but I'm telling you, like if he gets put in the right situation, he's gonna flourish and he's just gonna ball. Hopefully he'll go somewhere with like a nice quarterback. So we'll see, man. But that's coming up in like 20 days. We'll see what new team I'm a fan of. So it'll be good.
I know you got a lot more notoriety, I think, last year for like press going into the season.
Right.
You can like the next receiver to go in for the Owls. What were your goals going into the season, and what was kind of your thought process after the season ended?
So my main goal, like my main personal goal, was obviously earn that scholarship, and it was tough because like I broke my leg the year before, and I was still recovering from that, and that was a crazy ride, like lots of ups and downs with that. So my main goal really for the year was just to get some type of playing time, and just go in there and compete the best I can with my leg. My leg though actually held up pretty well after a bunch of Advil every day. Don't tell the trainers that. But yeah, so I ended up just grinding it out in camp, and like I earned a starting spot. And once I got that, I was just really trying to just produce a little bit, help us get some wins. My goal was never the NFL, just because, I keep it realistic. I'm only like 165 pounds. I mean, I'm not going to like shoot myself down, whatever. Like, but like I'm interested in some other stuff, but I just wanted to get us to win any way possible. And then what I really had more goals with was like punt return, because like as a returner, that was tough. It's hard back there. I just wanted to get some big returns, and I got a few this year. So I was hoping for a touchdown at punt returner, but one almost came. But like I kind of, it didn't happen. But one day, man. Maybe when they get NCAA 25 out or something,
Yeah.
You need to get that NCAA.
they need to make that ASAP.
I was replaying NCAA 07 on like my Xbox 360 that I have in my parents. Somehow still works.
That game was goated.
I was like, oh,
Who's on the cover of that one?
Reggie Bush.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I played that one so much.
I also got the March Madness one with KD on the cover.
I've never played that.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It was
They need to start making them again. The NCAA, man, that's just
well, they're looking to ways of paying athletes now. Look into it. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're going to figure it out. But it's interesting.
that'll always be a battle they'll continue to have. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how it pans out, though.
So were you teammates with Devin Singletary, or was he?
I was, yeah. So I was the whole time I was there. He was there. Played against him in high school. So
Was he just that, like, what we see?
Yeah.
Was he just killing it at practice every day, and you just knew, like, this guy's going to make it?
he was very similar to my roommate, honestly, in the comparison. Like, they weren't really – they obviously, like, did phenomenal in practice, but the one thing about Devin is just he just, like, kind of – how can I put this? Kind of like, I mean, basically like tunnel vision. He didn't like let any of the excess bullshit. Like he wasn't about any of the bullshit. He literally just went, showed up, did what he had to do, played football. But like, obviously he's like ridiculously talented. But what I will say is that, man, he is in person. He is disgusting. Like, not like a time.
Tower C. I guess. Didn't we play for FAU football, right?
Yes, he did for a year.
Okay.
Or two. One or two. I can't remember. I know he was there at least a year with me, so he's the man. I'm proud of, he's putting his head down, grinding. And the one thing about him, man, is like obviously he's famous now and he's a big time like influencer, whatever, but he hasn't let any of that really go to his head. He still, he still keeps his friends around and still, has good morals, knows what's supposed to, right from wrong kind of. But I just saw them today because I was throwing with Daniel Parr today.
Yeah.
And Tyler's little brother, so I saw Tyler and they're doing well. So they're just staying in the house with their quarantine. So
what's been your go-to Jupiter restaurants to order from right now in quarantine season?
I mean, I gotta go Ale House and see our chicks all day, every day. Yeah. That's really it, because those are the only two places that aren't really everywhere else. See our chicks, you can never go wrong there.
I got two words, dude. Thirsty Turtle.
Oh my gosh, the top. I promise, they're top.
Yeah.
Drew put me on Thirsty Turtle when I went down for spring training last year.
Did you love them?
Oh, it was so good. He told me to get the wings.
Yep. They're so fire. That sauce.
Phenomenal.
Great. Now I want some wings. We'll get them, though.
Drew, you guys got any more questions?
That's all I got.
A lot of questions.
Sweet. So you can stay on, talk some NBA with us, and maybe
I'm actually gonna go finish this paper up. I'm back in Boca, but I appreciate you guys for real. Whenever you wanna, catch up, talk, we can go in more depth about some stuff. Just let me know. Drew has my number, so.
Awesome. We will keep in touch. Thank you so much, Dante, for coming on.
Of course. Thanks for having me, y'all boys. Be safe. I'll be in touch.
All right.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it, Drew.
Thanks, man.
Well, thank you to Dante Cousart.
Yep.
For coming on. Appreciate it a bunch. So I had to move because y'all were cutting out on me because my Wi-Fi jammed. So I had to move. Great interview. Love to talk with him more. Maybe get some more of the actual details about some things. Maybe a little bit more. Because, he said Lane Kiffin. I've heard different stories about Lane Kiffin. So maybe we can get some more information. But we're going to go ahead and go into the meat of our show. And we're going to talk some postseason awards if the seasons are canceled. So we're going to start with the NBA. So we're NBA, we're going to have MVP, MIP, which is most improved player, rookie of the year, offensive player of the year, and defensive player of the year. And the resident hockey guy, so I will give my awards for the NHL, and you two can either ask me questions about each of the awards and what they stand for and what's the significance for the player, or if you know hockey like Hunter over here and just called Bruins,
Slightly.
then we can go from there. But we're going to focus on some NBA awards, and we're going to start with our most valuable player of the year. And I'm going to go ahead and go with, I think it's LeBron James. I know Giannis is in the conversation, but I think if you look at what the Lakers have done over the season and what he's done with AD and contributing to that offense in the minutes, he hasn't really played as much anymore because he's just playing that well. Definitely think it's LeBron James. You know, he's averaging 25 points per game. That's his range. His assists went up to 10, and he's averaging 7 rebounds. I think Giannis obviously is the Greek freak, and he can do a bunch of other things, but I think Giannis just needs to add a little bit more to his game for me personally in order for me to consider him in that MVP vote. And the reason why I'm not even considering James Harden is because the dude takes 700 shots a game, and I would also have 45 points if I took a gazillion shots a game. And I think a lot of people give him too much credit and not look at the actual numbers and also how many times he goes to the free throw line because he's popping all over the place. Hunter, what do you got?
So for my MVP, I do have Giannis just because he's averaging a double-double. He's doing it with little help. He doesn't obviously have a big-time all-star like AD, but he's averaging roughly 30 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, and a block a game. Like, stats like that are insane. I do not reward him with being the MVP. But, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree that Giannis is definitely in the conversation. For me personally, it's just like he's not MVP to me. I know he probably will win again, but I don't know. I think if you take him off the Bucks, I think they'll still be fine. I think they're built that way. That's just my opinion. True. NBA MVP, what do you got, my man?
I got an outsider here, an outside pick here. Not the normal top 3 guy. Talking baby Dame.
Dame Lillard?
Yes.
I can definitely see it.
He's averaging
Definitely see it.
28 points a game, 7 assists a game, 4 rebounds. Pretty solid year for this dude from the Six.
Yeah, I mean, he was putting the team on his back. And, they were 3 games behind Memphis for that 8 seed. And I definitely do consider that. I wish Dame gets more credit for what he's done, man. He's on a tear where he was averaging 35 points a game at one point. He dropped 50 piece and then a 40. It was crazy. He was just putting the team on his back. And it's weird because that team was basically the same from last season, but I think they had a couple of injuries which were more significant than they thought.
They also got Whiteside this year too.
Yeah. Whiteside has been phenomenal for them until Nurkic comes back. Moving on, most improved player. So there's a lot of people up for this. Me and Hunter were talking before the show. We were talking 6, 7 players for this award. But obviously a lot of talk is about Pascal Siakam, who won it last year, and he had 19 points a game or something, and now he bumped up to 26. All the numbers are going up except for shooting percentage, but that happens when your points per game go up because of the amount of shots you're taking. But for me, I have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He got traded. He was in that Los Angeles trade that traded away Paul George. I was about to say Chris Paul, but Chris Paul was in Houston. But he got traded away, and he flourished in the shooting guard role, playing the 2, 19 points per game, 6 rebounds a game. He has the biggest jump point-wise and rebound-wise, and that's why I picked him over who I think Hunter has as his most improved player.
Yeah, so for me, I got Bam coming from the Heat. Honestly, just because If you were to ask me if I knew who this man was before this year, my answer would be no. So the fact that he's completely made a name for himself, he's jumping out. He's averaging 10 rebounds a game, which is just astronomical. He's also averaging a double-double with 16 points, 5 assists, a little over a steal, and a little over a block a game. So that's just ridiculous numbers to me. And I don't see on that Heat team that is very young and there's no real superstars on there, and he's really coming out and saying, everybody get on my back. That's huge. And that's something that's really propelled the Heat to be where they're at now instead of just a laughing stock.
Yeah. Can you name what school Bam Adebayo came from?
Me? Oh, I don't know. Honestly.
Kentucky?
I don't think he's a rookie. I think he's a second-year guy. I think he was on the team with – I forget. Drew, most improved player.
So I'll give you guys a hint. This guy was featured in the All-Star Weekend this past year.
That could be 6 other people.
He was in the Skills Challenge.
Dude,
No?
6 other people.
All right. Davis Bertans from the Wizards.
Wow.
Yep.
Sleeper.
Hunter is shaking his head right now.
Ooh. I don't know.
All right, tell me why he's the most improved.
So right now he's got a 42% from deep. Let's see, he's nearly doubled his previous career high in 3-point attempts, 4.4 to 8.4. He's having 15 points per game for Washington on offense. That's my guy. He's an outside pick from Washington. Also, a guy named Davis. It's pretty freaking awesome. So Davis Bertans improving.
So I do want to bring up this one player because me and Hunter had this discussion. I just kind of want to just talk it through. Why aren't we considering Jason Tatum? Is it just because he's already grown into this superstar role? Because his points have gone up. He went from averaging, I think, 17 points per game to averaging now 23. Rebounds went up and all of it. But we're not even considering him in most improved player. Is it just because, we expect this from Jason Tatum? And knowing that Kyrie is gone, that this entire Boston team is going to flourish? Or has he just not warranted enough improvement yet in terms of what the writers want to see? Hunter, being the resident Boston guy, what are you thinking in terms of Tatum's game?
I mean, honestly, if you follow the Celtics, you obviously see him has improved every year, and he's getting bigger and better, and he's, it's kind of something that we expected. Whereas a Bam Adebayo, you didn't expect him to blow up like this. Now you put Tatum in a situation where you take Kyrie out. He was the reason why the Celtics went to Game 7 against LeBron and the Cavs, a couple of years ago. And then he's the reason why they're in the playoffs and have been the past couple of years. So it's he's really been that guy for the past, since he's really come to Celtics. That it's not most improved. It's more we expected it, and you're finally filling into your role, especially with the addition of Kemba Walker, who's more of a facilitator and not of a scorer. I think it's also helps him improve. He's getting better shots. He's getting more quality looks, and so that's why all his numbers are going up.
I definitely agree with all that sentiment. So, moving on, I think we all have this guy as Rookie of the Year. I don't know about Drew, but I know me and Hunter do. Ja Morant, I think, is going to win this Rookie of the Year. Now, there's a lot of speculation that they're thinking Zion will come in and swindle it. But Zion didn't play a full season. He sat out more than half, and now he's really played a fourth of the season based on how the COVID-19 is turning out. But, Ja Morant, the Memphis Grizzlies were in last place in the West last year. Now they're 8th. And he's facilitating it more, and he's scoring. And, Jonas Valanciunas has also grown in his role as, the new Marc Gasol of the Memphis Grizzlies. But, Ja Morant's just averaging 17 points per game as well. I think he's averaging 6-7 assists a game.
He's 7 assists, 3.5 rebounds, almost a steal, a block every 3 games.
It's
the point guard is just exactly what you want.
And I just don't see how you can't pick Ja over him.
But Like, one guy they'll just talk about for rookie is a Tower Hero. Dude was a bucket for the Heat this past year.
Yeah, but Tyler Hero's also coming off the bench, isn't he? Or is he a starter?
Not the best.
So that's the whole thing is that, like, Tyler Hero is getting his points per game, and he is a bucket, and he is a baller. But he's coming off the bench, so he's already in a limited role as it is. He's not the reason why Miami is where they are. Miami is where they are because of
Bam Adebayo that's really pushing him out there than Tyler Hero.
yeah. And Jimmy Bucket's up there too.
Duncan Robinson.
Yeah, like they're all doing their jobs, and so I think that's why I wouldn't consider Tyler Hero in the Rookie of the Year conversation simply because of his off the bench role. And I'm not going to consider Zion either because dude didn't play a full season.
Tyler Hero has played all games, but he's only averaging 13 points a game, an assist, and 4 rebounds. Like, to me, that's not Rookie of the Year stats. He's playing 27 minutes, but that's a lot of minutes for only 13 points.
Yeah,
and 2 assists.
It's the same reason when me and Hunter we talked about Garrett Sams, and he was out there during the Lipscomb game. This is kind of like why we're not really considering players and where they are. Well, we put Garrett in such a high light because he's a starter and he averages like 30-plus minutes a game and averages 19 points per game. But then it comes semifinals, nothing happens, and Ryan Burkhart, who's coming off the bench, 9 points, 3 of 3 shooting, and only gets like maybe 12 minutes a game. Like, those are differences in why we consider players of their value, is based on how much they play and what they can contribute. And like, we know Tyler Hero can contribute, but I mean, like, if he was a starter, for sure, run away with it if he was averaging not 13 points per game. Moving on, we have Offensive Player of the Year. I think that's an award. I'm not quite sure. I know Defensive Player of the Year is, but I think they have an offensive one as well. It's James Harden. He averages, I think, like 38 points, 34.4 points per game. He's just a straight shooter. That's all he really does. You don't get any complaints out of me. I think that's just simply how he's going to win. It's just because he averages the most points.
Yeah, for me, I also have James Harden with 34 points a game. Also 6 rebounds help, 7.4 assists a game. That also helps. I would say he's more of an offensive threat than an all-around player. I would say he's more a scorer. Kind of slouches on defense, but like a Steph Curry fan, don't we all? But honestly, I think it has to go to James Harden just because I don't see anyone else putting up those stats except for maybe Bradley Beal putting up the most quiet 30-point season ever.
Yeah, but he has to in order to will the Wizards to where they need to be.
Yeah, I mean, but still, he's like the most quiet 30-point scorer in his season. Like, no one is talking about him. Why aren't we talking about him as like offensive player?
I think we're not talking about him because he's on the Wizard. Plain and simple, like the Wizards are just like since John Wall's been gone for like 2.5 years.
Yeah, he was all the hype, and he really hasn't panned out to it. Bradley Beal, had similar hype, not quite to the extent, and he's showing out. So I think that their kind of roles reversed. The fact that he was what John Wall was supposed to be.
Drew, Offensive Player of the Year.
I am the resident Atlanta guy here. So I'm going to preach another guy, Mr. Trae Young.
No, shut
Mr.
up.
30
No.
points a game. Mr. 9 assists a game.
No.
Mr. Front and Center for the Hawks.
No.
Mr. from the logo. This guy is the epitome of Offensive Player of the Year candidate.
Sit here like Stephen A. when he listens to Max Kellerman say some absolutely ridiculous crap.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't hate the pick. I actually kind of like it.
I hate it. Absolutely hate it.
Dude,
This guy is a force on offense. Defense, no. Offense, yes. Like the dude's.
Trae Young averages 30 points a game, a steal,
He
9
has to.
assists.
He has to.
He averages 3 threes a game. Like, that's I mean,
I've never been on the Trae Young hype train. I thought he was overrated coming into Oklahoma, coming out of Oklahoma. Still, I think he's overrated.
I liked him when he went to Oklahoma. I liked him
Huh?
coming into it. I think Atlanta was a good fit for him. Really coming into his own.
If you see last year, he averaged 19 points a game. This year, 30 points a game. It's a huge increase from the past year.
Yeah, that's a big. Why wasn't he your most improved, Drew?
Because the second for the offensive player of the year.
Did you win both?
I mean, sure.
Defensive player of the year. Moving on. I'm not even about to entertain your Trae Young. I'm like disgusted. Defensive player of the year. I have Hassan Whiteside. So I forgot to type his numbers in, but I think he averaged like 17 points per game, double-digit rebounds. I think 3 or 4 assists per game, and then he had like 3 blocks per game. That's huge. And he came into that Portland offense, with CJ and Dame, still getting their buckets, but he's also helping him like getting the rebounds, contributing, and he's just a blocking machine as well.
Yeah, I have Hassan Whiteside on my fantasy team. So shout out to me for picking an amazing team and having this stud. He's actually averaging 3 blocks a game, 14 rebounds, 17 points. So like he's having an amazing season, and he's really helping me out and dominating my fantasy basketball league.
Yeah, I know, Harry.
Yeah, but my defensive player of the year is going to be AD. Strictly because he's averaging 9.5 rebounds, 1.6 steals, and 2.4 blocks a game. Those are just crazy numbers to me. And honestly, like, who's going in the paint when AD's standing there? I know I'm not. I'm going to stand up and be Trae Young. So, Drew?
Okay, Hunter.
Who's your defensive player of the year? And I swear to God, if you say John Collins is the man Hawks, you can get off.
Listen, okay, but before I go my pick, John Collins is a South Florida boy, so chill out, bro. He's from the South Florida area. But I digress. This is kind of a not a favorite pick here from people. This is a Rudy Gobert. He's got 15 points a game, 13 boards a game, 2 blocks a game. Consistent player. That's my pick for a 7'1" forward.
And caused the entire NBA to shut down.
We're talking record here.
I'm not going in the paint with Rudy Gobert there. God forbid he sneezes.
Yeah. Got that Rona out here.
Yeah.
So those are our awards. Obviously, we hope the season is finished out. And we can come back to this with a full actual nominee list instead of just going in blind. But moving on to hockey. So I am the resident hockey guy. Hunter was butchering names earlier, and I had to help him.
They have, like, one guy's name had, like, an S, a K, and a J. Like, I understand.
Sketchy.
I understand Chance the Rapper. Like, I'm looking at the roster, and I'm like, Panini? And he was like, no, it's Perron. And I was like, dude, I don't know. Like,
So
last name.
So in the NHL, they don't do like most improved or things like that. They give out actual like trophies, and they're called by historical famous players. So the Calder Trophy is the Rookie of the Year, and for me, I have Quinn Hughes of the Vancouver Canucks. Now, it really is just a two-way race between Hughes and Makar. But Quinn Hughes has done way more, I think, than Makar just because of Makar's on the Avalanche. And Kyle Makar is just, I think, just because he's on that team and there's so much firepower, it takes away from his point total. And Quinn Hughes has 56 points, and he's a defenseman, and he's leading all rookies in points. So for me, that's my pick. He's also a great defenseman. He was an all-star this year too as a rookie, which is really impressive in that rising Vancouver team until Jacob Markstrom got hurt at goalie. And, it was really entertaining to watch him play, and that's who I have. Hunter, do you have anyone? Or?
No, it was between Quinn and Cole, and honestly, Quinn Hughes was arguably the runaway. Looking at the stats and just like, even if you don't follow it, you look at the stats and the big difference. Like, I'm pretty sure he was the only All-Star as a rookie. So like, he's kind of the runaway for this. So yeah, I have the same.
I'm just gonna kind of run through the NHL just because I don't know how well Drew. How well is your expertise in the NHL?
I have a good trend here, Jacob. What if I told you there was a rookie in NHL, was 7 points his rookie year? Name is Danny Heatley.
Who?
Danny Heatley.
And he was on what team?
He's a left wing, played for the Atlanta Thrashers.
Oh my god! Oh my god! For you guys that don't know, the Atlanta Thrashers have not been a team in the NHL since 2013, 2012, longer.
Yeah.
They're now the Winnipeg Jets. They got out of Atlanta and went up to Canada. Let's just sink that in for the city of Atlanta and know that that's not a hockey town.
So I figured Danny Heatley was an awesome player. Played there for a couple of years, 01 to 05. Played for the Senators for a little bit too, and the Sharks.
Dude,
Are you just gonna give me old Thrashers players?
Yep.
Okay.
I need people I can play with on Channel 20. Like, I don't need
Vander Kane.
Keith Kachuk.
Vander Kane.
NHL 01, 02. Ew, that sounds so weird to say. Remember when we were playing Madden? We were like, oh, Madden 07 is going to be fire. Madden 09 is going to be weird to hear Madden 10. Now we're over here Madden 20, and it's like, oh, something. That sounds weird.
Yeah. Madden 04 with freaking Michael Vick on it.
Yeah. Honestly, Madden 05 with Ray Lewis on the cover is the most slept on.
So moving on. So this one I kind of paired together because it's the same dude. So Ted Lindsay and the Art Ross Trophy. So the Ted Lindsay is basically kind of almost like most valuable, but it's just like it's the best offensive player. And Art Ross is the best points, has the most points. Like Art Ross is a no-brainer. And it's Leon Draisaitl of the Edmonton Oilers. He has 110 points. He has, I think, 90 plus, 60 plus assists and 40 plus goals or whatever it is. And ever since Connor McDavid got hurt, and then McDavid came back and his pace has been on fire. And if McDavid did get hurt, I think Connor McDavid would be winning this award. Connor McDavid. I haven't really watched a ton of Draisaitl's game, honestly. But I think he's going to fit into the Malkin role. I can't even pronounce his first name. These hockey players, man. The Malkin of the Penguins with Crosby, I think he's going to fit into that role. And I think that's going to be a duo for a long time to come if they can pair these guys correctly because their contracts are insane when they become free agents.
Yeah, I think it would have been interesting to see how that little race would have panned out had the entire season gone on.
Yeah.
Considering the pace that Connor McDavid was playing at, he was going crazy. So
McDavid is currently at 97 points, I think.
Yeah, so I think if the season would have gone on a little longer, I think he would have caught up to him. But
I thought Pasternak was going to run away with it, and then he slowed down.
He slowed down so hard. It looked like he could be the runaway. Wasn't he the first to 50 points?
Yeah.
And I was looking at it and I was like, dang, he's gonna run away with this, and he just completely I don't want to say disappeared. He was still putting up points, but I think it was just more of the Marchand and Bergeron, and then also you have Charlie coming in too. He can score points, and you had I can't remember that name, but yeah, there's a lot of guys that can score on that team. So I think he's starting to rotate more, and he wasn't scoring as many points.
Drew, give us another Atlanta Thrasher.
Okay, this guy played for a little bit. He signed one of the longest contracts ever for a hockey player. He's had a 12-year deal with the Blackhawks. This guy is Marian Hossa.
I know who Marian Hossa is.
Be better. Yeah. So in 2000,
wasn't he on the Red Wings at one point?
Yep. In 2006, he had 100 points in a season for the Thrashers. So That's telling you something.
Great. Good job. Let's keep it rolling, boys. The James Norris Trophy is best defenseman, and it's not necessarily by point totals, guys. For these awards, they take in a lot of consideration. They take in plus-minus rating, which is if you're on the ice and they let in a goal, and your team lets in a goal, that's a -1. But if you're on the ice and you score, that's a +1. It's how that works. But Roman Josi of the Nashville Predators, for me, is definitely going to win this. John Carlson has the best offensive, but his defensive skills I read and I've watched hasn't been that well. Roman Josi has been pretty consistent all the way around. And it's a shame that Nashville is kind of where they're at because he's a very good defenseman on that team. And yeah. So I know there's a lot of consideration as well for Victor Hedman of Tampa Bay Lightning. Heddy's definitely in consideration, don't get me wrong. He's always going to be in consideration because he's like a 6'5" Swede who's like 6'7" with blades on. And he scores goals. And he's big and physical. My only problem with Hedman, as you know, me and Hunter have been to plenty of Lightning games. We've watched plenty of them. He's beat sometimes.
Plays.
He will either
forgets common sense, and he just sits there and will let somebody blow by him, and it's like, what are you doing? Poke check him, hit him, do something, and he's just like, oh, there he goes, and then now it's Hazzy 1-on-1, and it's like. And
for me, it's just I need more consistency because when Hedman's on, because I've seen it in the playoffs, when he is on, he is by far the best defenseman out there because he poke check, he's long, it's crazy.
When he flipped the switch, I believe that was honestly the reason why they did make that run to the Stanley Cup in 2013. That entire team just flipped the switch and they were on.
It wasn't 2013. It was 2015.
Or 15, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I remember because we lost the Blackhawks.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
And everyone in Tampa hates the Blackhawks now.
Yeah, everyone does, actually.
Yes. My buddy's a Chicago Blackhawks fan, and they won, and he came to school. And let me tell you, that was a ballsy move to come to school wearing a Blackhawks jersey. And then get
Yeah. My teacher did this thing, and she was sitting there, and she wore it throughout the playoffs, and everyone's in their lightning stuff. And it was the first game, it was cool. You can wear your stuff. And then afterwards, she didn't teach anything that entire day. She literally just ran highlights of whatever the fuck was, and I just walk in and I see the projector on, and I was like, this is weird considering this was math or something. I was like, you don't use the whiteboard or hand me a piece of paper. Why is this on? I didn't even know you had a projector. She was like, enjoy this, puts it on. I was like, wow, you're heartless. And she was like, enjoy. I know I did. And I was like, oh.
I think I did that to Hunter with the Blues for a couple days. I was just spamming him, and he was like, I don't care.
Yeah, and I was sitting there and I was like, hockey's not my thing. You didn't see me doing that with the Pats to your Rams.
Yes, you did.
I did not play that over and over again. I was simply made jokes throughout the game and then after the game. And then anytime you bring up the Stanley Cup, I'm like, all right, we still have the
Super Bowls.
And then I was just like, I'm okay. I also had the World Series. We're okay.
All right, Drew, give us another Atlanta Thrashers fact.
So here's some trivia, guys. This guy's actually part of the Lightning right now. You guess who it is? It's in the Lightning's roster.
Shattenkirk.
Nope.
Is it Luke Shen?
Nope.
Witkowski?
Nope.
Okay, I give up.
Mr. Zach Bogosian.
Bro, he's not on the Lightning team.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Okay.
He might be playing in the AHL, maybe.
In his first full season in 2009, he had 23 points in 81 games. He had most hits in the season with 196, and he also had most goals by a defenseman with 10 in the season. He had 124 block shots. So, Zach Bogosian, man, what a goat.
I was about to say, he's not on because the Lightning defensemen are Hedman and Coburn, Shattenkirk and Sergachev, and then Cernak, and I think it was Shen.
Which I can see. I thought they say he's part of the Lightning. Man.
Part of the front office.
No, you played this past year. Yeah. 27 games.
Oh.
Number 24.
Shows what I know about the Atlanta Thrashers. So we're moving on to the Selkie. And the Selkie was won by a Blues player, Ryan O'Reilly, last year. And the significance of it is that you're the best defensive forward in the game. So your play is really well. You poke check. Like when you're on the ice, not a lot of things get past you. You win face-offs, different things like that. So for me personally, my pick is Anthony Cirelli. Me, like being a Lightning guy, like that dude hustles and he plays really well. And like on the power kill, that man scored. I think he had the most shorthanded goals last season, or he was leading it this year, or something like that. And for me, I love the way he plays. I think he's defensively great, and I think he's definitely going to be a consideration for this award for years to come. But I've read a lot of reports, and I think Hunter is going to say who the actual guy probably will be.
I mean, honestly, I think it's up to two guys. Honestly, I think Patrice Bergeron's going to win it. But the Flyer, Sean
Couturier.
Yeah, him. I think he's also up for consideration. I think Bergey's going to beat him. Some writers have, Couturier beating him out, and Cirelli's just like
Chilling.
he's chilling in third place. Like, that's cute. Bronze medal for trying. But I honestly think just watching Bergeron play, running the perfection line, just seeing everything he does, he's a stud, and I think he should win it.
Yeah. For me, though, I like Couturier is phenomenal, too, for guys that really watch hockey. Like, this guy plays hard. He plays fast. Like, everyone knows about Claude Giroux. But, like, Sean Couturier is also phenomenal as well, and he's playing extremely well. And not a lot of things get past him either, but I love Anthony Cirelli's game. Like, him and Braden Point on that Tampa Bay team are legit. And I think those are two guys you're going to have for a long time. Drew, come back with us with another useless Atlanta Thrashers fact.
This guy was an all-star at 2011. He's now on the Jets. His name is Dustin Byfuglien.
Yeah, Dustin Byfuglien.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh, my God.
Butchered his last name.
So, dude had 53 points, was one of the first Thrashers defensemen in scoring. He had 23-18 of ice time per game. He's also captain in the All-Star game, so what a guy.
For people that don't know how to spell Dustin Byfuglien's last name, it's Byfug, and then it's like something Lein.
Yeah.
It's like hockey guys.
You know who he is? So
Moving on, there's something called the Jack Adams Award, which is coaching. The season hasn't finished, so I really don't know who to give this to. My two picks are either Craig Berube of the Blues, because like being an interim coach is one thing, and taking on a team for half the year and winning. Taking on a team for a full year and still maintaining that dominance is definitely something you can do, especially when you lose your best player for the year, basically, in Vladimir Tarasenko. And you have a ton of young guys on the team like Zach Sanford and Sammy Blais. And he did a great job. I also have Alain Vignolet of the Flyers, just because he turned around that team who missed the playoffs last year, and now they're number 2 in the Metro Division. And that's a pick for me. Hunter, I don't know if you got anyone for that. If not, it's okay.
I got the Columbus Blues coach and the Pittsburgh Penguins coach.
So the Columbus Blue Jackets is John Tortorella. He did a phenomenal job as well. And the Pittsburgh coach has also done a great job as well. I forget his name right now, but they both have done great jobs. So moving on is the Vezina, which is best goalie. And my pick is Andrei Vasilevsky, because he has a 2.52 goal against average. He has 35 wins, which leads the NHL. And if you watch Lightning hockey, he faces a storm every game. Like, you literally, like, you only like Vasilevsky simply because he stops the puck, which is his job, because they just leave him on an island. Like, Hedman's just letting a dude blow past, and that's when you're just like, great, we're just going to have Vasilevsky out again. And to be honest with you, if it wasn't for Vasilevsky bailing us out for a ton of games, then who knows where we are. But there's also a downside of Vasilevsky where he does let in some cheap goals from time to time, but there's that. But I also consider Jordan Binnington because he's proved that he's no fluke as well. 2.52 goal against average as well. He has like 29 wins. He's helping the Blues continue their dominance and let us to the Stanley Cup. But Hunter, I feel like you're picking Tuukka Rask.
I mean, I was considering that just from watching him live, the amount of like one-on-one opportunities that he's simply just shut down and just the circus plays that he makes. Like, it's he doesn't even get credit for him. It's just like, oh yeah, he had like 30 saves. No, he had like 15 one-on-ones, like shutdowns, and he did a handstand and kicked the puck away. Like no one knows that. Like, so I feel like he doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. But I think Tuukka Rask is another great consideration, just simply because of his dominance that he's had for the past a couple of years, honestly, with the Bruins.
Tuukka Rask currently has a 2.12 goal against average, which is the lowest in the league.
Yeah, I mean, but but I also was looking at Winnipeg's goalie, Connor Hellenbuck.
Yeah.
I know how to pronounce his name.
I just making
I
sure.
have to play Winnipeg on Chell like a couple of times. So, like, trust me, I know his name because he's probably the best goalie that I go against. So, it's really annoying. But that being said, I think Tuukka, is a little ahead of Hellenbeck and Vazzy, just because I'm a Bruins fan and just watching the games and how dominant Tuukka Rask really is. Sure, he doesn't make the circus saves that Vazzy makes, but he also doesn't let the easy ones go through every once in a while. Like, he shuts everyone down.
So with Tuukka Rask, a lot of things people are knocking him on is that the Bruins do use a tandem goalie system, which is two goalies. It's like a 3-to-1 kind of ratio. And Josef Halak has played a bunch of games as well. But I think that takes away from Tuukka Rask's dominance simply because of how many games they played. And I think I read it was like Tuukka Rask played 41 and Josef Halak played 31 games. Like, it's not enough games to really consider yourself as much as like Vasilevsky's playing close to like 60 games a season. And Hellebuck too is the reason why Winnipeg is still even a team right now, not dead last. Man faces a slaughter every game. Drew, does the Atlanta Thrashers goalie fact?
So this guy caught fire in 2003. This is
God.
I love how he's so prepared and so ready every time. He's just like, boom, here we go. Like,
this guy is Kari Lehtinen. Let's go back. He played 4 games since rookie season, went 4-0, with a 1.26 goal against average. His save percentage was on 53. Now that's just rookie season. Come back to 06-07. He was 34, 24, and 9 with 912 save percentage and it's 0.79 goals against average. So Kari Lehtinen caught fire in 2000s.
For 4 games. Okay, whatever. I see him as a backup all the time whenever I play NHL.
Played for the Stars recently.
Well, no, I've been playing this like old NHL game, which is like for Xbox 360, and I see him all the time. It's like the Dallas Stars or some crap.
He played for like 7 years with the Thrashers, 03 to 2010.
Moving on. The final trophy is the Hart Trophy, which is the most valuable player to someone's team, not necessarily in the league. And the Hart Trophy for me, I originally put David Pastrnak just because of what he's done offensively and the goals he scored. But I changed it and I put Artemi Panarin simply because I've read about it and that man has literally willed the Rangers to where they are. And if it wasn't for that, for the bread man, I really don't know where they would be. Is that who you were going to go with 200 is the bread man?
Yeah, I was going with him as well. I was also going to throw in Nathan McKinnon. I don't think Costa is a good choice just because there is that whole perfection line, and it's not just him. Whereas the Red Man and Nathan McKinnon, it's literally just them. That's
Yeah, with Nathan McKinnon, though, like they have Gabriel Landeskog and Mikko Rantanen. The problem is the reason why he's so valuable is that if one, Nathan McKinnon's speed is unmatched, and two, Landeskog and Rantanen are hurt a lot for like a couple games, and like he's healthy a bunch. He's there, he's playing. He's playing through injuries probably, and that's where I think that just puts him. Hey, Drew, I know Atlanta Thrashers player did not win the Hart Trophy, but
Yeah.
it's another Thrashers fact.
I want to ask you guys, who was the best Thrasher of all time? Like,
Keith
Getting-
Kachuk. Keith
What?
Kachuk. Keith Kachuk.
nope.
Okay.
This is Ilya Kovalchuk.
Ilya Kovalchuk.
Yes. Dude is an iron horse.
He's with the
He's a-
Capitals now.
Yeah, he's a 3-time All-Star. He won the Rocket Richard Trophy back in
Most
2004.
goals.
Yep, back he started with Jerome. Oh God, Iginla. I guess that's his name. And Rick Nash. But yeah, dude had his best season in 05 with 8 points for the Thrashers. He is synonymous with Mr. Thrasher. He is the guy that you should know for Thrashers fan base.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up our awards. You guys want to talk about anything else? You all want to wrap up the show? I did put in our notes that we were going to talk a little bit about Tua Tagovailoa in the draft, but the show has ran kind of long, so it's up to you guys if you want to keep talking or not.
I mean, we can do some draft analysis. I got a couple of thoughts about certain players and where they hopefully go or where I think they should be going.
Yeah. True, you about it?
Yep, I got my full list from last week.
Sweet. So next week, we're going to do a full 32-team draft. We're all going to pick who we think is going where. Say the first pick I say is Joe Burrow, then I go, Hunter, who do you have? Like kind of what we've done today. So that will be next week for you guys and give really in-depth draft analysis and just kind of go from there. We may possibly have not a scout, but he works for a scouting agency, my buddy Nick. But it all depends on his work because they may not let him come on and talk about certain things because of the information he knows. But we'll find out and see. I'm kind of talking to him, but we'll figure it out. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about some players. And I think the biggest player in this draft that has the biggest question mark is Tua Tagovailoa. Without a doubt, is the biggest question mark simply because of the hip. He has an ankle injury before. He's had a finger injury. And me and Hunter talked before just kind of on our own, but, I personally don't think, his accolades grant him so much talent. He has a big arm. He's mobile. He has a great field of vision. So if you compare him to some other dudes, we put him in this sphere of, a great college player, but really he's good. He's won one national championship, which he won off the bench. He didn't even do the full season. Then when he did the full season, he had to be pulled and be saved by Jalen Hurts in the Georgia game. Then go into the national championship and then get slaughtered by Clemson. Barely beat Oklahoma, by the way, with Kyler Murray. Then come into next year, total Heisman favorite, basically. And then you still can't win it because you got hurt, because you had an ankle injury. You went up against Mississippi State. You have the power, dude, to go up to Nick Saban and be like, dude, I don't need to be playing against Mississippi State right now. You know what I mean? Save me for the SEC championship game, and I'll be healthy. And obviously freak injuries happen, but to me, Tua as a prospect is phenomenal, but the accolades, we need to tone it down a little bit of how much we talk about Tua a little bit.
The way I see Tua in comparison with the draft analysis, I see him a lot as Jameis Winston. And not as injury prone, but as risk involved. So Tua
I
has
agree with that.
the broken finger. He has the left knee injury. He had a quad injury that kept him out of the game. Then obviously,
He had an ankle issue at one point.
He had a quad left ankle,
There it is.
and then
Yeah.
another ankle injury. I mean, there's a whole I'm still going. I don't see him being a first-round talent with all the risk, just like how I didn't see Jameis Winston as a first-round talent with his risk. Obviously, they're different risks, but honestly, I'd rather have the Jameis Winston risk over someone who's injury-prone. I mean, Tua consistently has proven that he is not going to play a full season. They have 12 games. In the NFL, we have 16, now 17.
17 games now.
You can't do 12. How am I going to expect you to do 17 games and hopefully more than that because we're supposed to be in the playoffs? I don't see doing that.
So think about it. So you might be playing 20 games of football. 17 regular season games starting, not this season, but next season. Then wild card, divisional, championship, Super Bowl. That's 21 games.
So 21 games, not including preseason, which is 24
Exactly.
games. There's 24 games an entire season. If you play preseason, you play a quarter, 2 quarters, a half, whatever it may be. Starting week 1, you're playing 4 quarters, and you're going 21 games.
Yeah. So, Drew, what do you got on Tua, per se?
So my dad's a big troll on Twitter, and he calls Tua Matt Leinart 2.0.
Ooh, my. It's not.
So he's not wrong, but the fact that Tua's had this cupcake schedule of Alabama opponents, and we've seen how we can dominate over teams like Citadel, roughly, But playing against Clemson and Oklahoma, he's had a tough test. So is he good enough to compete against these caliber guys in the NFL? That's kind of a question mark.
I would
I think
agree.
for me personally, I haven't been a big Tua guy ever. Tua has the accolades and the yards and all that, but I question his winning ability. You get pulled in the SEC championship game when you can prove your worth. Then you have to have Jalen Hurts come and bail you out, who doesn't want to be your backup right now. You know what I mean? He could have transferred, but he stayed in that. He wasted an entire year of his collegiate life to back up Tua.
I feel like he was waiting for Tua to get injured. He
Yeah.
knew he was going to be able to step in. But that even being said, that reminded me, Tua doesn't even play a full game because they are playing Citadel, they are playing Mississippi State, they're playing Missouri, crappy teams that he gets to play a half or 3 quarters, if that, and sit out the 4th quarter. So now what really brings in is how many full games has he played? Georgia? No.
LSU, he barely made it through. He was
he didn't do great against Oklahoma. He didn't do great against, Georgia both times. He got pulled in the Georgia game. These are real talent, NFL caliber guys, and he was just crap in the bed.
Yeah, I totally agree. Moving on, I don't really have my notes pulled up for kind of draft stuff. But what do we think is going to happen with Justin Herbert? Because I've heard a lot of talk. Because here's the thing: a lot of people are not in love with Herbert. A lot of people are actually going down on him and are actually loving Jordan Love's game more, simply because Jordan Love's upside is so much better than Justin Herbert. And I personally didn't watch a lot of Jordan Love, and I've watched a little bit of his highlights. He's got big arms, Patrick Mahomes-esque. In terms of the way he rolls out of the pocket, in terms of how he can throw on the run and the big arm. It's not like he's Patrick Mahomes 2.0. It's not like he's the poor man's Patrick Mahomes. It's just he's done things where the only thing that he does reminds you of is because it's Patrick Mahomes doing the same exact thing. And that's a compliment to him, but I haven't seen too much. And he can throw it, he can sling it. I think he needs to refine his game, Jordan Love. But I think Justin Herbert, something's going on why people are being very hesitant on him. Piper and McShay are both we don't know what to do with him. But we know he's going in the top 10. That's all they can say. They're we don't think he's going to fall, but not a lot of people are loving his tape.
I mean, I don't have him going in the top 10. I have him slipping to later, the first round. Kind of to like a Raiders or a Dolphin, if they don't get to us, say something happens, or they find something and end up taking. Honestly, I think they need to pick defense before, but honestly, quarterback wise, if you don't get Joe Burrow, I don't see another quarterback that's going to be worth a person on talent for, because you have Jordan Love, who you don't know, and a lot of predictions have him going to the Chargers, and the Chargers need a quarterback. Tua's injury prone. You have Jacob Eason, who's really gotten the most hype other than Joe Burrow, as a lot of people are, talking about Eason. And Eason lost his job to Jake Fromm, who's also in this. I see Jake Fromm, being better than Love. I see Eason being better than Love and Herbert. But I see that, I see what they see in Jordan Love, but Jordan Love doesn't play talent. He doesn't play NFL caliber guys. He plays over in,
He plays in WAC.
In the WAC. Like, who you play Boise State once a year and that's it. Like, that's not NFL talent either. That's like a Blue Mountain State.
Yeah.
Like, you're not.
So going off, like you mentioned Jake Fromm, and I think that's a very interesting topic because I think Jake Fromm is a great intellectual quarterback. His IQ is really good. But when you watch Jake Fromm play sometimes, you're like, okay, why is he making that throw? Why is he – he's had a little bit too many interceptions. Some of them are not his fault, but some of them he just misreads coverages. I think he can get better. I think if he's in the right system, he'll be fantastic. He also, I've watched some games too, he'll step up in the pocket when it's time to roll out. And when he rolls out, he could have stepped up in the pocket. There's little nuances to his game that can obviously be improved on with a lot of work. Jake Fromm, a lot of people is saying he's a New England guy. And I agree 110% that he is a New England guy because of the IQ, the makeup of the arm, and the talent, and just the way Belichick likes quarterbacks. But we'll see with the quarterbacks. It'd be interesting. Like you said, like other than Joe Burrow, I've heard this theory. I've watched a couple videos on mock drafts, read some articles. What happens if the Chargers trade up to 3 and draft Tua? What will the Dolphins do at 5? You mentioned defense, but should they also go offensive line as well to get one of these very athletic offensive tackles?
Honestly, with the Dolphins being at 5 and 17, 18. All right, so they're at 18 and they're at 5.
And 26.
So if I'm at 5 and say Tua's not there, even if Tua's there, taking Isaiah Simmons from Clemson, I would argue and say that he is the best defensive prospect to come out of this draft.
I don't disagree with you. I think Chase Young, obviously everyone raves about the talent that he has.
The talent is there, but he is very, edge rusher. He's just a bulldozer. You're in the Big Ten and you go against, top tier talents to a point. You play Michigan, who's,
Penn State and Wisconsin.
I'm not slacking on them, but it's not like
it's not like you're going to get to Bama.
Yeah. So I would say that you can bully your way through that, especially if you're like a Bosa or a Chase Young. I can see you bullying your way through, but face a 380-pound lineman that knows what he's doing. You gotta have some more finesse moves than that. And that's why I think Isaiah Simmons is a little better, because not only is he just a linebacker, he's not just a linebacker. You can drop him as a corner or like a nickel back. You can have him as your edge rusher. You can have him as a safety. You can throw him pretty much anywhere you want. So if you're running a hybrid defense that has to switch up and you need, that linebacker who can, use as a spy or follow a running back, that's your guy you want out of this draft. But honestly, other than that, I would say, or a Derek Brown, the defensive lineman out of Auburn. I got to watch him in the Outback Bowl. This guy is a monster.
Fun fact, when I was at Combine, me and my buddies, Thomas, and Nick, all went to Ruth's Chris to celebrate the final day of this great trip. Well, literally, we're sitting at this table. And the table next to us is 2 Auburn guys, like personnel guys, and then 2 Auburn prospects. And Derek Brown is a man amongst boys anywhere he goes. He's literally like, you imagine like eating like a giant with like regular stuff and like how tiny he will be. That's what it looked like looking at him at the table. He's so big that he's like hunched over and like this nothing fits this man.
No cap. Either I'm tripping or something's moving behind you. There's a bug.
Yeah, there's a bug like flying around me. Yeah, right here.
I think for the Dolphins, like, they have no West Coast offense in the past, like, 15 years. So if we can get Herbert to the Dolphins, you have guys around him like Mike Gesicki and Devontae Parker. Also, my hot take this year, Mike Gesicki will be a top 10 tight end this year.
Yep.
Yeah, hot. I like Gesicki as that.
And 18, Henderson from Florida, the cornerback, to fill the role there.
So I just kind of want to play with some scenarios a little bit with this draft. Like, who do we think is the best player in this draft, period? Who are we taking them? Like, obviously, we know how good Joe.
Like, talent-wise, skill-wise.
Just, like, the best overall player, not based off position. Like, if you were doing a big board, who's your number one guy?
I have it between 3 people.
Who?
I have it between Isaiah Simmons because he's a do-it-all guy on the defensive side, but being a hybrid guy. But I also see it looking at strictly skill and like just pure raw talent. It's hard to overlook CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy. These guys are literally like in actual games, against actual talent. It's like they're playing in the backyard with their little brothers. I catch the ball, I'm going to do a couple of moves, and I know you're not going to tackle me. And then I'm going to jog, look around like I'm Usain Bolt, make fun of you, cut, and you're going to be on the floor again. They are simply just that talented and that skillful that they can mess with anybody. And the fact that, like, even watching CeeDee Lamb highlights, I don't know how Texas did not tackle him. He catches the ball, breaks a tackle, and there are still 4 people around him.
Oh, yeah.
You are boxed in by 5 Texas defensive players. One person laid a finger on him, and he scored. How does that happen?
I agree. I think if we're just looking at it, for me personally, I love a great corner, and it's Jeff Okudah. I love Joe Burrow. Don't get me wrong. I love Joey Legend and all of it, the smoking cigar, the talent. But there's obviously a little hesitation. Like he had one great year. And like we saw what happened with Trubisky. He's the one great year guy and gets picked number 2 overall. Now we see he's competing with Nick Foles. You know? But I think for me, Okudah is by far the safest bet as a pick because you know what you're going to get, and he's going to shut people down. And here's the thing. He doesn't go find the ball finds him. You know, there's just little things. He'll lock somebody down, take anyone on, shut him down. I think he'll be phenomenal. Like, in that Clemson-Ohio State game, I had the chance to rewatch it the other day a little bit. He shut dudes down. Like, T. Higgins didn't go anywhere. You know, like, there's just little nuances about his game, man, that I think is going to make him a stud in this league. And we're going to be saying something about Okudah Island, maybe. Okudah.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal talent. I had him being, one of the top-tier guys going out. And hands down, I mean, I can see him, being Pro Bowl, not this year, but next year. He's going to be one of those Pro Bowl guys that are instantly going to make an impact. And especially if he goes to, like, the Lions, he has a potential of being, like, a day 1 starter.
True. Number one prospect. Sorry to cut you off, man.
Pretty good.
I think for me, it's just Isaiah Simmons, ACC linebackers are very overlooked these days. So having him as a force, possibly the Panthers this year, would be sick. Also, Jedrick Wills from Bama to OT, having him just be a blocker for a team could be a good start for whether it's I haven't for the Cardinals this year, but imagine him with Kyler and Fitz and Hopkins and Drake. Just come on.
So when we get into our mock drafts next week, which I'm still working. I finished mine, but like I'm still refining it. But like Tristan Wirfs, I saw him at the combine, and he was the best lineman at that combine. Because he was agile, he was quick feet, quick hands, everything about him. No matter what offense you put him in, he's gonna kill it. If he's at the Giants, run screens with him, bro. Game over. Barkley's getting at least 5 yards downfield on a screen with him. Same with the Cardinals, which I don't think we're talking about the Cardinals enough. For one, pulling off the swindle of the year and getting DeAndre Hopkins because Bill O'Brien's an utter buffoon and he needs to be fired.
Yeah.
My whole thing with Bill O'Brien, one, if you trade away, you're a generational wide receiver, top 3 currently. If you do not go to the playoffs and you do not win a game in the playoffs, fired. You're fired.
I think he had to make that move because he knew Hopkins was going to leave.
No, you got 3. He had 3 years left on his contract.
Did you really have that much?
Yeah. He said he had 3 years left on his contract, and the way we wanted to go with our franchise, we knew we couldn't retain him. I'm like, okay, you got 3 years. You know you're not going to re-sign him for 3 years. You keep him for 2, and on his 3rd and final year, you trade him and get him back. And instead of just getting David Johnson in a 2nd-round pick, which Madden wouldn't even do, you trade him for like 2 firsts, couple 2nd rounds, and maybe a player.
Yeah, you ask for way more.
Because look what Stephon Diggs got. He got a first. The Vikings got a 1st, a 2nd, and a 5th.
You whine too much.
And next year's 2nd round for Stephon Diggs, which we all know is not worth that much. But the Vikings were like, he's worth that much to us because they know that they have Diggs and Thielen.
He's locker room cancer.
He is. I love Diggs. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know why he wanted to leave Minnesota. And Dalvin Cook was on First Take, and he was like, he just wants the ball, man. When he doesn't get the ball, he's upset. Like, that's understandable. I'm like, no, you're gonna get the ball when you're open and when you can catch. There was times where it was an open slant route that was 3 yards away, and Kirk Cousins threw it to him, he drops it. Like, sorry, can't trust you if you can't catch a 3-yard slant.
Michael Thomas special.
Yeah. So, moving on, who do we think will be a sleeper in this 1st round, per se? Like, who's the one guy that may not be, like, per se, 1st-round talent, but he's going to go in the 1st round? Or he's going to go higher than his value?
Ooh.
So, for instance, like, say somebody has to reach for him, but, like, he's also going to pan out really well.
Oh.
Or somebody who's going to fall, but he has top 15 talent. I think I have my guy, and, dude, I absolutely love.
I mean, I don't think he's going to fall, but I think he'll pan out really well. I think the Eagles sitting at 21st is going to get Denzel Mims from Baylor.
That's what I got. That's literally exactly what I put.
I think he's going to pan out really nicely. I like him a lot, especially because the Eagles do need a wide receiver. Like Drew's friend was saying earlier, like they need one bad. I think he'll pan out really well.
He's a big body.
Yeah, but I also see Kenneth Murray, the linebacker out of Oklahoma, going to the Pats.
I actually have Kenneth Murray falling down to the Ravens. Just because I think the Patriots, I really don't know what they're going to do this year. I personally think they're going to take Jordan Love right now. But I think people are really actually set on Jarrett Stidham.
I think so. From what I've been looking and what I've been like looking around and hearing experts talk, and then what I've been reading and what I have come to it is the fact that they're very happy with Stidham. Hoyer's a good backup. He's a safe backup. But I think, in the later rounds, if Ethan or Fromm is available, I think they're going to snag him. Ethan obviously has the talent and the tools for it, but Fromm has the smarts. He loves throwing those out routes, and he reads coverages very well. He makes dumb decisions sometimes, but I feel like some coaching. and he's going to be another system guy that could be through there the next couple of years. I don't think they're going to spend a first-round draft pick on a quarterback simply because I think they're seeing ahead into next year. I think they're going to not tank, but do okay, maybe an 8-8 season, 7-9, 9-7, well enough to like be in the middle and have their couple of draft picks be reasonable to trade with, so they can get a Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. For me, the dude I think this dude has top 10 talent, and he's gonna fall to. Currently, I have him falling to Drew's Falcons, Devon Kinlaw. He's a great interior and edge rusher. You know, Falcons lock is Vic Beasley, and Kinlaw is going to help fill that role. I've seen a couple of his tape. He didn't run at the combine, but I've seen things of his tape, and he's really, really good as well. But I think like a dude who I think is going to pan out really well because he's going to fall so far is Kavlon Chasen, the DN from LSU.
Devon Chason.
Yeah.
I was looking at him. I see that he's projected to go to the Falcons.
I have him fallen all the way down to 27 to the Seahawks.
I think Devon Kinlaw is actually going to stay at us. I have him going 9th to the Jaguars simply because they do need so much help. And I feel like, Derek Brown's going to be gone. Isaiah Simmons is going to be gone. Chase Young's going to be gone. You got Jeff Okuda is going to be gone. I feel like they have to snag him at 9. Otherwise, they're not going to get, what they want and what they need.
Sure, you got anybody?
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier today, Henderson from Florida, the cornerback. I said originally with the Dolphins, but I meant the Cowboys because the Cowboys got rid of Byron Jones. So to fill his shoes, I've watched the Gators a lot this past year, and I've had history of really good DBs from their past teams like Matt Elam, going back to Brian Poole. Also, Falcons, you guys mentioned them twice. I had to mention them 3 times because it's like a trend. AJ Epineza, the Iowa defensive end. Him with Dante Bauer on the edges, it's a pretty sick combo.
I think AJ Epineza is some risky play. Now I saw him; his bench was weak. 225. I think he got like 21 reps or something like that. His speed wasn't great. His footwork wasn't great as well. Obviously, film is way better, of course. I heard he's a beast on film, but those things. I feel like if you're a beast on film, putting up a good 40 times shouldn't be a problem. But there's different factors that roll and different things like that.
Is a lot different than your 40 speed, because I can tell you what, my 40 speed is shit, but if you put the ball in my hand, my 40 speed is going to go up. But it's like game speed, that's a different. It's like I feel like you can't test that unless you throw them out there in the game and have a.
That's why everyone's so sold on these wide receivers because of the in-game speed.
I also want to mention Valentine's roommate Harrison Bryant. Duke be a possible third-round pick in the draft. 1,000 yards receiving this past year, 7 touchdowns, 15 yards average per reception. Do you guys follow Mia O'Brien on Twitter? She's like the main Jacksonville news anchor.
I see it from time to time, yeah.
She has him falling to the Jaguars later on, which is a good pick, I think, for them this year.
Yeah. So, the only things I really want to talk about with the draft. We could talk for hours on it. I kind of want to wrap this up. This has been kind of a long episode for you guys listening in the grandstands. I'll just kind of end up, me and Drew, I'm going on the walk-ons tomorrow with Drew, who does a great job over there. And this past weekend was Wrestlemania, and boy, was it a weird Wrestlemania.
Yeah, it was.
Not only was it just empty, but there was a boneyard match, which was phenomenal, by the way. Just because they decided, hey, we need to make this like a movie, basically, and it was great, and it worked. But they also did this really weird match with John Cena, where he was like going through all his old, he came out as the Dr. Thugonomics. He came out as the Prototype. He came out as a bunch of other things too.
WCW.
Yeah, and then he lost in like 4 seconds technically. And it was really weird, but it was actually kind of cool, kind of not. And then other than that, Edge in Orton was phenomenal. A lot of people didn't like it simply because they're like, oh, they're just walking around. But like, I did want to ask you guys this. Me and Drew are big wrestling guys. Hunter pays attention.
I used to be really big in it when I was little, like elementary school and middle
And
school.
then Hunter grew up, and me and Drew are just forever like 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
Doing this all the time, can't see me.
I still do look in every once in a while and see who's still around. I still like Randy Orton a lot. The NXT guys that was when NXT like first started, like their first 2 seasons. It's funny to see where all those guys were. The Drew McIntyre, where they're at now, and it's like, oh, that's funny. And then it's weird not seeing the Big Show. It's weird not seeing John Cena really.
Big Show's back. Came back on Monday.
Did you see his new show on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that and I went, really?
Not surprised. But let me ask you guys this. What is your favorite WrestleMania moment of your lifetime? So me and Hunter have been the Earth for 20 years, so we only have from 2000 to 2020. And then Drew, you have from like 1960 to 20. Kidding.
Come on, boy.
The old man out of the group.
Yeah, I'm the 22-year-old out of this group. WrestleMania 17.
Are you alive for WrestleMania 17?
That was a ladder match between Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys.
Oh, was this when Edge?
Edge from a 20-foot ladder. That was a call. Spears, Jeff Hardy, midair, holding a belt. That was an iconic moment.
I think for me, because I've been kind of new to wrestling a bit, I think for me, my favorite WrestleMania moment so far has been, because I've been just kind of watching it pretty good recently. Like, I know about the old stuff too, but like my favorite WrestleMania moment so far that I've been watching has definitely been the Hardys coming back and the pop in Orlando and bootlegging it on YouTube and watching it with my brother and then coming back was awesome. If I say I have a favorite WrestleMania moment, it was Michaels and Taker.
Yeah.
Both those matches were great. Great.
Also, like Kofi Mania 2 was pretty sick.
Kofi Mania was great. And so is the Miracle on Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
That's an all-time one too. Which somehow still is like memorable even though the Taker lost his streak the same night.
It's crazy how the main story was Daniel Bryan, not the streak being.
Yeah. Great storytelling. Just simple.
And that's why the Edge and Orton thing works well, because this big storyline of just like their history. That's why it was so good.
I mean, you got a favorite WrestleMania moment, my friend?
No, I was trying to remember back from when I watched. So this is when the streak was really starting to get to its end. So when I really was like huge, and my favorite WrestleMania moment would be the whole like Undertaker and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, that's.
So that right when you said that, I was like, damn, really? Like, I had to look it up and see. It was when they were 18-0, 19-0. And then when he went against Triple H, that was huge too. And then even when he went against CM Punk, the whole Paul Heyman story, that entire time was coming up. And I was like, I did not want him to win. And so just like when you tune in on Monday Night Raw, and like that was back when you didn't know who won. If you didn't watch it, you didn't know. So you're sitting there just like, who did it? And they just show you pictures, and you're like, oh, did the streak end? And then you just see him like CM Punk's cross like this, Undertaker's tongue out, and it's like, yes, sir. Like, let's go. So that was like probably one of my favorite ones. When the streak ended, I was upset, and that's kind of whenever I ended with WWE. But I think what made – I forget which WrestleMania it was, but it was when they had the interim GM. So it was a computer the entire time.
Yeah.
All that leading, all the drama and the chaos, like everything that you wanted to see happen, the interim GM would just go, we're going to make this happen. And it's like, dope. And then it was wrestle now because that never said so. And so
I hated him.
that whole thing leading up into WrestleMania just made it that much bigger for me. And I was just like way more excited to see it. But yeah, not only that, if you guys could name your favorite, not even WrestleMania, I would put in like any pay-per-view or even like Raw or SmackDown, favorite match ever.
I think for me, it's definitely Cena versus CM Punk at Money in the Bank. That for me was crazy. I remember like watching it as a kid and thought this was wild. And then I rewatched it like on YouTube when I got bored one night. I was like, wow, this match is phenomenal.
You talking about when CM Punk won the title and quit?
Yep.
Yeah.
He won the title and he was on the bear and he left in the crowd and then came back like a week later. I thought that was great. I think for me a very close second was AJ Styles versus John Cena. I think that Royal Rumble was for me by far one of the best matches I've ever seen.
For me, it's actually an NXT match. Just kind of actually, it's pretty sick. It was the first ever North American Championship match and a ladder match. You had Adam Cole, Ricochet, Velveteen Dream, among others, EC3. Ricochet in the ladder is fun to match, fun to watch. So if you want to watch wrestling and get into it, watch that match. Adam Cole won it. It was a pretty sick match. Tons of action. Lars Sullivan was in it too. Killian Dane. Just fun wrestling. It's just like a house show kind of feel.
Got you. Well, for me, the match that stands out in my head the most, like every time I think of WWE, it's funny seeing how both of these guys are actually now like actors and they're out doing their own thing. It was the John Cena and the Jose Batista, or not Jose Batista, Dave Batista. Yeah, it was the Batista John Cena I Quit match.
Yes.
It was like an hour long. And finally, it was like Cena on top of like a car with Dave Batista, Batista and like the STF or STO.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there and he's just like, I quit. And I was just sitting there going, oh no. Like Dave, he just quit. It was like, is that for real? I didn't think it was for real. And then he never came back on WWE. And I was like, he actually quit. He literally.
So it's interesting when you because me and Drew, we read and kind of hear things from backstage news. Dave Batista, when he came back in 2013, the whole reception to him was just so bad that he didn't come back to WWE and didn't even speak to Vince McMahon until he finally was like, yeah, I'll come back, but on my terms, we're going to do it my way with this one match. And he was like, I'm only going to work with Triple H. And he came back, worked with Triple H. Great match from last year's WrestleMania, and then I think he's done now with the WWE for good.
He's doing more movies now.
Yeah. I would say, as of right now, so we all have our favorite people that we had, and people got us that or really attracted us into the WWE. Who was the most attractive superstars that people want to follow?
For me,
today. So back in the day, for me, it was DX. The whole Shawn Michaels and Triple H telling everyone, yeah, doing that.
Everyone knows what that means.
I love DX so much.
For you.
They were literally the reason why I watched and I tuned in every Monday. Who is the DX of today? Who is somebody that people want to follow? Obviously, you still have Randy Orton and people like that, and people tune in to see that for main events. But who's people that are stand out the most?
For me, I got started with Finn Balor. So for people that don't know, Finn Balor came from NXT and got called up and they were doing this Raw, SmackDown, specific brand shows and stuff. That's when they came out with this new title belt called the Universal Championship. Well, Finn Balor was a very interesting character to me because he wrestled really well, great, and then he has this character called the Demon. Literally, his body gets painted, spray paint on the back. It's crazy, and his entrance was so cool. I remember seeing it, and it was awesome. Like, anytime he's this character, he doesn't lose, except for maybe once or twice. He's a great character to follow. I also fell in love with AJ Styles as well. I think today, if anyone was really going to fall in love with any character, for me, I think it was Becky Lynch. She first became the man, because what pushed her over the edge was she was this badass kind of woman, marking stuff up during Survivor Series. And then Nia Jax had a botch job, which is when you screw up the move, and she actually punched Becky Lynch. And Becky Lynch is all bloodied up. You know the scene, Drew. She moves through the crowd, turns back around, spotlight on her, blood on her face, and goes like this.
On T-shirt too.
On her going like this, bring it on, and then after that, she was just unbelievable. Her character's become a little bit stale, but like Becky Lynch is somebody anyone can really get into. She's very, you can root for her. Ricochet's another dude. I think for a lot of people still will be Roman Reigns, especially now with the whole he's beat leukemia story. I think a lot of people will still gravitate towards the big Samoan.
I think I'll give you 3 names, guys. One for pure character is the Fiend Bray Wyatt. People love him for some reason. He's like weird, creepy, alter ego guy.
I love it.
Exactly. It's a point there. Talking about just pure wrestling ability. Johnny Gargano. He's a pretty sick wrestler in NXT. Now this is a non-WWE guy. Chris Jericho. To this day still can get a crowd going and get fans in AEW.
He's in another promotion called AEW.
But he's still best on the mic, still can have good matches.
The Walls of Jericho.
Yeah, his match last month was insane, but he has a group called Inner Circle. One of the guys is actually Jack Swagger. He's now in the group called Jake Hager.
I was about to say, so when I stopped following it was actually when the Wyatt family was becoming big and they were beating up on John Cena.
So I personally loved the Wyatt family, and then they started to go way too crazy, and I was like, this is going too nuts.
Yeah, I dealt with the Shield, which was the Shield.
Yeah.
Reigns, Rollins, Ambrose.
Yeah. So once we got past that, I was like, all right, cool. Now they're all gonna go do their own thing, kind of like what NXT did. And then this Wyatt family came in, and it was just too creepy, and I was kind of already kind of losing interest. And once that came in, I really decided I was no. From that timeline of Rey Mysterio, Sin Cara, you have Jericho now that you said, and Kofi Kingston. I heard earlier, who's still around back then? That's now. That's still around now.
Ricochet.
So I just want to say you need to wrap this show up. It's been about 2 hours. Long show. We can talk all day. We can talk once we get off more. But for show purposes, we need to wrap this up soon. But Drew, you said Ricochet's the dude for you?
Yeah, but the best high flyer, it's the best one, I'd say.
I think for me, the dude now, I think people are sleeping on will be Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa.
His match tonight's going to be sick. I'm going to watch that after this.
I have to watch that. And he's an NXT dude. I don't know, eat a donut. He's an NXT dude who's been there for a long time. I think it's time he gets called up. He's a great guy on the mic. He can wrestle great. People love him because he was in the tag team with Johnny Gargano. And he reminds me a lot of Randy Orton in terms of his durability, his kind of mental wherewithal in the ring, and people are oh, Randy Orton's so methodical. Ciampa's kind of the same way. I personally like him a lot.
Dope intro too.
Yeah. So thank you guys. If you guys do listen, to you guys in the grandstands that listen to this entire show, we appreciate it. We love you guys for it. If not, definitely watch the interview with Dante. Great guy. Hope we can bring him back on again as a reoccurring guest. which you are now, Drew, a recurring guest on the show.
Yep.
Drew's going to stay with us till the end of till we all go back to school and we put this on radio again. We may even keep this on YouTube. Who knows? Keep involved. But for sure, going to keep Drew back coming on. We'd love to keep having you. And just keep going from there. Next week, mock draft episode. If you guys need to get your draft picks, definitely come for that episode. We're going to be talking through every team's needs, what our picks we think will be, and why, and talk about sleepers and different things like that. Other than that, thank you guys so much for listening. I have been your host, Jacob Prell, your mom's favorite little leaguer, Hunter Malone, and the Swiss Army knife of Spinnaker, Drew McDonald, and the lovely Scoops Ahoy shirt. Catch you guys later.